To the rest of the day's news from the markets, and earlier I spoke to Geoff Beeston from Lonsec. Geoff Beeston, a bit of a breather on the market today after yesterday's 5-month high.
Absolutely, Tiki. We had, obviously, after some very strong gains yesterday, we saw a little bit of consolidation on the market today. We saw resources a little bit weaker, but offset by stronger financials. Volumes were down, or were a bit lower than average at about 3.3 billion. Again, we're looking at very weak or non-existent leads from Asian markets. The Nikkei was off about 1%. And, of course, US futures are showing flat. So, unfortunately, a pretty lacklustre day.
I'm just wondering, any reaction among iron ore stocks to the China Iron and Steel Association saying it wouldn't be bullied into accepting unfavourable pricing systems?
It was a fairly muted reaction across BHP and Rio and Fortescue. Obviously, the issues there are CISA are looking to move from quarterly to monthly contracts. Now, I don't think you'll see too much pushback on that. Of course, iron ore supply is still fairly limited globally, with India recently shutting down exports, and we expect to see supply bottlenecks in Australia until at least 2012. So the mine is not too affected today.
The recent Arrow Energy spin-off, Dart Energy, is poised to swallow up Apollo Gas. That seems to have been met with a more favourable response by investors today.
Absolutely. Great if you're an Apollo Gas shareholder. The stock up about 30% today. Comments are out today by Dart. They'll probably have to do a capital raising to complete that transaction. But again, another example of consolidation in the coal seam space. We obviously think it's a very exciting space, the energy space in the Australian market at the moment.
And of course, the Woolworths share price keeps just going on up, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Again, the stock up about 1.22% today. This is probably a combination of the factors of the recent $700 million buyback coming to a close, and also investors probably looking down the track at potential inflation being priced into food prices, which could impact or put upward pressure on the margins for Woolies and Wesfarmers, of course.
And any other big announcements coming up later in the week for you?
Not really to speak of. Again, we're probably looking at into the close of the week, just keeping an eye on what's happening with the US, especially around any commentary around further quantitative easing. I think that'll further bolster the Australian dollar, which is already trading at record highs.
Geoff Beeston, thank you very much for joining Lateline Business.
Good to be here, Tiki.